Welcome back. Mike Spence on TSPN TV's News Desk, and we've been talking with Richard Forster about our RCRC, the Rural County Representatives of California, and a great organization, but the fire fee has been a primary concern, and we were just going to change the topic to talk about something else, but there's more to talk about in terms of this fire fee. I've had interviews with Frank Bigelow, our California State Assemblyman, and I think that there have been committees that have been analyzing where this money is going, where it's being spent, and it's being spent toward administrative fees instead of being put back into fire prevention. And I think where a lot of people thought the money was going to go, it hasn't been going. And then where's the process? It's been going on for ages now, and we'll be doing it for another year or two before we figure out where the money's even being spent. And also the issue of having those fees be increased. There's no telling next year that our governor won't increase that fee as well.
The governor's already indicated a willingness in past discussions to increase this fee in the future. It's not hard when you have the votes. Fortunately, right now, a lot of legislators are looking towards the next election, and the vote margin is so thin. I think the Democrats have lost a few in, I believe, on the Assembly side. Some have moved to the LA City Council and some congressional actions. So I think it's a little thin. It's very close right now. I don't think they have a supermajority, but there are a lot of Democrats that are looking at the next election and saying, if I vote for this, it's going to look like a tax, and then I'm vulnerable. So they have to make a decision there. But the governor has indicated he has no problem with raising this in the future. So we'll see what happens there. It's an issue where we want people to actually write the governor, and you can always pull that up on the RCRC website. It's just the state capitals, basically.
That is
Gary
where
Brown State Capitol. I mean, that's where you get in touch with
How
them.
easy is it? You can go to your website too and,
Right.
and see the template of what to write. I think you could probably give an example of that. And that is the only chance that people have is to collectively organize as voters, as a voice, and write the governor and figure out how to do that. It's very easy to do.
Even if you like the governor, just tell him, I like some of what you're doing, but this is dead wrong. I mean, we live up in a rural county. We should not be unfairly taxed, and it's inequitable for this to be the situation when everybody in the state should be paying for the protection of CAL FIRE. Governor Schwarzenegger realized that when he was in office. He tried to actually push a statewide, I think it was $3 per insurance policy. Who do you think came out in opposition to that? The insurance industry. But that's $3 that would have made up the pool of the $50 million plus that CAL FIRE needs to fill that hole in the budget. But beyond that $50 million, it's taking them, they've estimated about $15 million to administer this fee. That $15 million is what's supposed to be going to fire prevention activities per the law. So they're breaking the law right now. AB 29X, I think it was, said that a certain percentage of the money should go back to fire safe councils and different organizations within the community for fire protection. That's not happening. What happens, that's not happening, one, but two, CAL FIRE, if they don't respond in the SRA areas, if they're out of the area on a major fire in mass in other areas, and they don't respond and protect areas, that makes them legally responsible if structures burn in that area. They're the ones that say, we're responsible, we're taxing that area. And the other thing it does, it hurts our mutual aid system. It breaks down the structure of mutual aid. If you have people in an area, one, the local agencies go out for a tax, people are getting taxed to death now. And they say, why should I pay for a tax? Again, I already have Measure M. I'm paying this SRA fee tax. Why should I pay another tax? So there's local districts aren't going to get the revenue then to do what they need to do. And if that's the scenario, then you're not going to have the resources there. So you may not get the response from local. If CAL FIRE is on major activities, and then you get the other problem.
Shifts over, sure.
You don't have the mutual aid happening because a lot of times, City of Ione, they'll send, and Sutter Creek will spend mass resources out and mutual aid when big fires happen. If you have this SRA fee in the loop, people just get a bad taste in their mouth.
That there should be a shift in services and somebody else can take care of it because they're getting paid to do it.
That's right. So when does that happen? Hopefully not. The fire community is pretty responsible, but at some point people just get tired of being taxed to death and they say enough's enough.
Well, I think it might be common with a lot of us upcountry. I'm more than fine with a fire fee. I'll pay any fire fee. I'll pay for hydrants being repaired. I'll pay for salaries for firefighters, which I firmly believe in. I mean, fire is a huge concern, obviously, and our #1 priority, fire and water. But I want to know where that money is being spent.
That's right.
I don't want that money just going to administrative costs in Sacramento.
Right.
If I think it's a real fire fee, that'd be different. But it really has been poorly managed, in my opinion.
And you have situations that, you know, if you have a statewide emergency going on, an earthquake or something like that, CAL FIRE is going to respond to those emergencies too. They are a statewide emergency organization, so it's not just fire. So what happens if all of your resources are deployed in certain areas and we end up with a catastrophic fire up here? More than likely we're going to suffer the consequences of that without any fire protection. That's what RCRC has indicated, that there's a liability here too for CAL FIRE. Basically, if you're charging people a tax for fire protection, then you should be there when fires happen. So if you have a statewide activity going on, the excuse is still not there. The resources should be in place.
Right. Oh, I agree. How is it that you found your way to these commissions? I know that you were involved in a couple of different commissions lately you speak to in the supervisor meetings. And, you know, there are conservation commissions that are very valuable. You know, a lot of them do, you know, have different agendas, but you've been able to identify, you know, a few to get involved with. How did you select RCRC? How did you become involved? Other than having one supervisor for each county, you know, you've managed to really target just the right commissions. I'm just wondering how you go about the process you go about and what your values are in terms of doing that.
Well, some boards rotate. Fortunately, I've been on RCRC for quite a while now. I've been a past chairman of RCRC. And what I liked about RCRC is they concentrate on several different areas. The water issues, the regulatory issues, and then you have the natural resource issues. They're big issues that are very important to rural counties, and we need the representation. Again, the problem we have is we represent the largest mass of area in the state of California. We don't represent the mass of people, though.
Right.
And to get the mass of people to understand is very difficult sometimes, and especially those legislators. We've had Senator Dave Cox in the past trying to get urban legislators on his own side, on his own line of the party, to understand issues on Indian gaming. It's very difficult. They have a lot of information to deal with. I won't excuse them on this one, though. This is a no-brainer.
Right.
If you're looking at taxing just a segment of the population, everyone should look at that as wrong. If the benefit is strictly with them, I'm fine with that. But the benefit CAL FIRE provides is statewide. And whether it's urban county or rural county, those rural areas need to be protected, but the high-cost areas that CAL FIRE has to go in and protect are the urbanized areas. And I've been on those fires down in San Bernardino County and San Diego County, and I'll tell you what.
We've got a county full of smoke right now.
Yeah, huge expenses.
We're looking at it for days now. Yeah, where, you know, it's not that far away.
That's right.
But I normally don't agree with my guests as much as I agree with you, Richard.
That's right.
You know, this is the news desk. You're not supposed to be biased, but there are issues that are obviously of prime importance to our county, and I think everybody would agree with you.
People can access all this on rcrcnet.org too. They can go online and Google RCRC. You got to make sure you get to the rural county representatives of California. But other than that, I think we have ties to it to our Board of Supervisors webpage too.
I've gone on that website. It's a terrific, very informative and easy to navigate, and just a very professional group.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to see how
a lot of information. It should tell you how to get to the appeal process. Or you can go to the Board of Equalization website. It should tell you how to get to the governor. As we said, that's not too hard. But the governor needs to know, and he needs to know en masse, that look, we just want fairness in the state. And even though you're an urban guy, you can understand fairness.
There is a huge difference between urban politics and rural politics.
That's right.
I mean, I came to Amador County probably 13 years ago. It's fairly balanced, middle of the road, and you know, rural politics just push you over to the side in terms of looking at issues from a more conservative point of view, and water and fire are just huge.
I had to give credit to Senator Berryhill and Assemblyman Bigelow. What Assemblyman Bigelow has told me is that it's an education process with a lot of the urban legislators. They just don't understand. Sometimes you have to go step by step and explain it to them, and you can see the light bulb go off. So that's what Frank Bigelow is trying to do is educate his counterparts in the legislature and try to get them to understand the inequity of this whole thing. You know, they don't want to hear their people say, "I'm being taxed." Well, but they're willing to hear the rural residents scream and cry about it. They don't care about it. That's why we need the education process, and letters need to be sent. You need to talk to your legislators, talk to other legislators and the governor, and just let them know. All we want is equity.
Well, Frank Bigelow is a perfect example of that in terms of understanding rural values. He's a good educator, too. His wife is in education. You know, he's been sending out flyers and trying to get people's consensus on things. He's been very involved. And he's got a huge district. I mean, his district goes all the way from, you know, Yosemite, you know, all the way up to Tahoe, all the way around to Amador County. That's one of the largest districts. Again, that's what rural means, is that, you know, that population density is just not there. He has probably the largest district, where somebody in a Bay Area district would have, you know, 20, 30,000 people in a square mile. You know.
One thing you said about Frank, though, he understands the rural areas. Well, part of that is because he was Madera County Supervisor.
Right.
He sat on RCRC on the board. He was the president of the California State Association of Counties, that is also opposing the SRA fees. So there's a good coalition built there. We just need more education, more information out to our counterparts in the urban areas of the state, and get them to understand this is not right. You know, we don't want to go through the whole litigation process and prove you wrong, and we're pretty confident that's going to happen. Somebody from the Department of Finance, when one of our supervisors was in Sacramento, indicated that a question was asked during the whole process: if the lawsuit is filed, do you think it'll be successful? That was asked by a legislator. Department of Finance person said, well, usually when we're sued by Jarvis Gann, we lose.
So hopefully it turns out that way. Yeah. We're running out of time. I know we've only got about 30 seconds, but I want to say you're another good example of someone who has the rural concern down, and you're representing your district extremely well. And you know, you understand that area out there in Ione better than anybody I've seen. And you know, coming from that background, it really takes the right people to get those values and issues out there. And I want to appreciate it.
We try.
Thank you for coming on.
Any of the county supervisors can be talked to about this issue too. We have a pretty good grasp of it.
Write your letters and get on that website. Again, thank you for joining us, and please stay tuned for more TSPN TV programming.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.